Or go have a drink and ask them. I mean, one of the two, right?
I don't.
Support the local businesses.
I go to Pete up there. My daughter and son-in-law go to Martin's. I've been to Martin's once or twice. They do a good job.
I used to have to go there for admission tests.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they still do that?
No.
No? I think there's one in New Berlin, at New Berlin Auto off the National there. Across-
Right across from the liquor store over here. They were the Roddy or whatever.
Oh, they.
I don't know if they are anymore, but
Okay.
that's where I got mine done last time, so.
Most of them do it so they can maybe pick up a little work or something.
Yeah.
I think it's a pain in the ass.
It is, yeah, it's not worth
Right.
anything to them.
It doesn't take long to get it done.
No.
Well, one more minute, guys. The show's on the road.
Well, I need little packets, I can pass them out now.
Yeah, sure, feel free, yeah.
I only made 5. Did you need one, Ben, or?
No, is this all, everything you submitted?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
I
Okay,
think-
did you?
Yeah, we should have one.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, well, I took pictures and stuff, too.
So I just got an email, and I was looking at when I got here. It says, I'm setting up a police and fire commission meeting for interviews on Wednesday, the 29th at 5 PM. Let me know by tomorrow if you're available.
That's right.
Yeah, so I just let her know today that I was available.
But that depends on if they need you as an alternate or
Yeah, well, I didn't think they wanted, that I was only gonna do it the one time, so I wasn't sure if they needed me or not, so I really didn't respond to her. I figured she might be here, and I'd talk to her tonight, but.
not.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, and we'll call this to order. You'll take roll call here, Ben. And we'll start out with consideration and approval of minutes. We'll get to you real quick here. So,
Make a motion to dispense with the reading of minutes.
Sure.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion out there to accept the minutes as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any public comments at all?
Is that me?
No, not yet. We're
You're in there.
We'll get you real quick here. Again, no public comments, okay. So we'll move on. Old business is none, okay. Go ahead, Dan, with the new business there.
Sure, so, yeah, we received, an application from Mr. James Knoll. This is for a proposed detached accessory structure. And when we count the square footage, it exceeds the 800 square feet that is normally allowed. However, he's providing for, location, as you can see on his site plan, that could accommodate that. The proposal's for a 24 by 26 detached garage.
Yeah, I mean, that
And
doesn't
it's
install, that
approximately-
can go smaller, it doesn't have to go any bigger.
And it's approximately 50 feet from the right-of-way and approximately 26, 25 feet from the west property line, as far as I could tell from the drawing. And again, the property owner is Mr. James Knoll and Diane Knoll. And the property is located at South 82, West 23, 760 Artesian Avenue, BBV 207-0071, and it is zoned as R2 residential district. I'll just briefly outline this. You have, I guess, my staff summary in front of you. So we look at 16.14 for the section in the code that talks about allowing for placing of a structure in front of a residential lot line, where customarily it would be expected to be placed to the side or to the rear. And so there's some guidance here that does allow for that, granted some conditions are met, and it's reviewed by the plan commission and considered prior to rendering a decision on that. So you have before you a recommendation that I don't really raise any particular objections to the request. However, there are some conditions, there's about 8 conditions there that when I reviewed the code requirements, these are the 8 conditions that I would say would warrant being applied in this circumstance, should the plan commission be inclined to recommend approval. So with that being said, you have an aerial map, you have the applicant's application, I believe, in front of you. You have a site plan they presented, an aerial map, I think a couple of them. And then he has some additional photos he just submitted, so.
Where's that building? Yeah, that's what I was wondering, is where's the building going? I see it on that one right here. Yeah, he still has a lot of room up in front of the road too.
Yeah, it's gonna be at least 52 feet somewhere in there. I'm trying, I would like to stick it in be kind of, right in between, there's 2 trees there, yeah, right in between the 2 trees there, so.
And do you have like a lot marker in the front where you know exactly where the right of way line is?
I do on one side, the other side got, broke, or, okay, I think it ended up in a garbage truck tire, but,
Boy, this.
but I know where the IPs are for the other 3 corners of the lot.
And the building inspector may ask you for that,
Right.
you know, to verify setbacks, when you get to that point, if you get to that.
Oh, I see there, yeah, okay.
And just as a clarification,
Mhm.
I'm sure I know the answer to this, but there's another attached building already on the property. Is that any concern? Do you have anything like?
You mean the detached one, the shed in the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I calculated that up, and in my staff summary, I kind of called out. There's an allowance of 800 square feet combined.
Okay.
He's exceeding that, however, it does talk about for some leniency with that. So what you can do is allow for every square foot he's over in the new structure, you can argue that you can set it back a little farther from the side lot line to kind of make up for that difference. It sounds kind of wacky, but the way the ordinance reads.
Yeah, I had
So,
some questions about that.
yeah, so, you know, that's the way I was reading the ordinance guidelines on that, so it's kind of like, well, you know, you're allowed an additional 10 square feet for each foot of side yard offset above and beyond the normal customary setback. So 20 feet is normal.
Yeah,
for a structure
that was
of
one of
this
the
size.
questions I had. It used,
Yep.
when we built there, it was 50 off the front lot line and 25 off the side lot line.
Mhm.
And I used to, you know, have to do stuff with Vince there, you know,
Sure.
back in the day. And
Mhm.
I don't know when that got changed.
They have a zoning ordinance, and I'm not sure when that was adopted officially, the language in there, but it calls.
Well,
it 20
and I just talked to my neighbor last night who built right behind me a garage, and he still had to be 25 feet off the lot line, so. That was just last year, so.
Is
I don't
your neighbor in Big Bend or Vernon?
Big Ben.
Okay.
So.
I
don't
know you're kind of on a little island there of Big Bend, and then to the
Yeah,
west is
exactly.
Vernon, so.
Right.
Don't recall. Anyone else right there applying for?
Well, he's right behind me, he's actually up in the subdivision, you know.
So
It's, Matt and Sarah. Netzel, yeah. Cause he put up a pretty big garage, so, he had to come here too, so.
So to the west is Village of Vernon, but it looks like that's the ATC
Yes, the right
driveway.
way, yeah. Mhm.
So I guess again, Ben, just for clarification, is there anything that we need to do with Village of Vernon for approval on this? Given that it's Vernon next door?
Good question. The simple answer is no.
Okay.
I mean, if you were gonna be less than 5 feet from a side lot line and they had a setback of 5 feet, there's a building separation requirement of 10 feet for a fire code. And so that might have been an issue, but in this case,
I mean, I got an electric tower right next to me on the side here, so I'm sure,
Yeah, nothing's.
and anything that's gonna start on fire, doesn't spread anywhere, so.
And nothing's gonna get put there at all? In
No.
In that right away?
Well, there's kind of a driveway right there for servicing.
Right.
There's a cell tower on the top of that too, for right now.
So is the issue just the square footage of the back building and the front building?
No,
No?
no, basically what you're voting on is, are you okay with allowing for this to be placed in front of the residence instead of to the side or to the rear?
Right.
The other situation is technically as a condition, the way I read the code, he'd have to be 28 feet off the side lot line because of the size of the garage. Basically, anything above 800 square feet, you're required to go 1 foot over for every 10 square feet he's over an allowable size.
Right. And that's based off of the 24 by 26 garage.
Correct.
So, I mean, you just sent me that email the other day, so I got thinking about it. Now that it's 20 feet off the side lot line, you said, if I made it 22 feet wide instead of 24 feet wide, that knocks off 52 square feet. So now I could actually move that back 3 more feet off that 28 feet, so I could be at 23 feet instead of the 25 I got on the drawing right now, so.
And that's 25 foot off the side lot line.
Right.
Where ATC.
Right. I mean, does that make, is that how I'm reading that, Ben, or am I,
Well, you can propose whatever you want. I mean, it's just one of those things.
Well, I'm just saying, I didn't get any, estimates on how much this is gonna cost to build yet, too. I might have to do it just because of building costs, too. I'm not gonna go any bigger, like I said, I could go smaller, so.
So if you can bring your combination down to reach, the 800 square feet, I don't know.
Well, I would still be, 28 square feet over, so.
You really wouldn't gain much then, yeah. I mean,
Right.
You would be allowed to go down a little bit, maybe to the 25 foot, yeah, whatever.
Right, and I'm fine with that, so. I mean, I got some, evergreens there and stuff anyway, I don't wanna get real close to them, cause, they're gonna get bigger.
I don't have a problem with it at all.
I don't either. I mean, it's a right of way that's gonna be there until the end of time.
Right.
Yeah, they've,
No.
and he has a pretty good sized piece of property out there. And the whole thing's set back quite a ways anyway.
Yeah, we're, well, probably about 108, 110 feet off the house yet too, so. I mean, with them praying for a fire, but if there were an issue, I don't think we'd have an issue with the house. I guess, from what Ben was telling me too, I mean, I guess I had to convince you that I couldn't put it behind the house because of, I have the constraints that the shed's there, and back in those days, I had to be 25 feet off the lot line, I had to be 10 feet off the house, I had to be 15 feet off the mound, and I worked with Vince on this, and this was as much as I could go. And if I could've did 20 by 20, I wouldn't be here right now, so.
Right.
Like if we had that 20, well, actually, coming down this, east side of the lot here, that 25 feet, well, I'm on a hill here, so all the water from the neighbor, runs through there too, and then kind of goes down the lot line, so, and there's a lot of freaking water comes through there, so.
Right.
There was a lot of considerations to make on that shed, not too bad down here, and that was my original intention when we, bought the property anyways,
What is that up there? Is that 2-3 acres or something like that?
just one,
Was it just one?
yeah,
Oh, it looks bigger than that. Yeah.
well, 300 by 150, I don't know.
Okay. I mean, driving by it looks bigger.
Oh, yeah, oh, you went by?
Yeah, I go on down Artesian pretty regular.
Oh, okay, well, stop by for over here.
I already said I don't mind,
Yeah,
So the
but I could do that too.
yeah,
the only sticking point that we have is the 25 foot versus 28 foot setback? No.
And to be able to locate it where he desires in the front yard.
Right.
Where he's
Oh, yeah,
locating it,
right.
yeah. It is kind of a two-pronged
Right.
approach. So again, with the size, technically, you can get, again, the code, I had to reread it, but it does allow for an additional foot, for every foot in addition to the required, what was it, the 20 is what it calls for the zoning district. It probably used to be 25, but it is 20 today.
Okay,
And so it says for every foot over that, you're allowed 10 extra square feet. Any combination not to exceed 800, however, because he's technically a little bit over that, this grants him that little bit of leniency. Does that make sense? So, because he has enough ground, you could do that because of his lot size, so it's kind of a three-pronged test that I ran through. So he is allowed to go above 800, but again, because he wants to go above 800, he has to scoot it over an extra foot for every 10 square feet he's over.
but it still gets me under to meet that 2% total.
2% total of a lot size is what he's allowed
Right.
for accessory building,
Well,
So do you
which
have,
is kind of crazy, but, yeah.
so is there any problem moving it over 3 feet to go to the 28-foot setback?
oh, you know, off the lot.
Further
line?
into
yeah.
the line, yeah.
I
further into
actually,
the line.
if I went a little narrower, that would make the square footage of the garage 52 feet square, 52 square feet.
I'm just saying if you want to keep it the same size. and just-
Well, then I could be right at the 20 foot, you know, like I said, I haven't got any estimates on how much this garage is gonna be. I got a couple of rough estimates,
Yep.
and this isn't a real cheap project anymore.
If you need to scoot it over 3 foot, can you scoot it over 3 foot? Or do you need to have?
Ian, or, I mean, I prefer it back, because it gets me farther away from the trees, so.
It would be to the east, basically.
It would be farther from the trees, 3 foot farther from the trees.
Right, well, going west it would be, farther from the trees, but,
No, going east. Because you're at 25, 20.26 now.
yeah, that was,
So
This
you
is the
would-
west line.
well, I'm talking about this tree and this tree.
Oh,
gotcha.
okay, yeah.
They're not easy to, yeah, there's one and there's one, so this is kind of going right in between the.
So if you can meet the 28 feet by moving it 3 feet, then the only thing, if you agree to that, then the only thing we'd really have to just consider and vote on would be allowing them to put it in the front.
You
Where
got it.
really there's nowhere else.
You got it.
There's no restriction with the power lines there. So I guess it's kind of up to you, how
Right.
you feel. Maybe it's
Well-
a little bit cleaner if we stick with the proposed setback, correct?
Okay.
The way it's supposed to be.
And then if he wants to shrink it down in size to avoid these trees to the east here by your driveway is what you're saying, right?
Right.
If you wanted to shrink it down, you can go below the size that's granted, that's fine.
Well,
and then you
right.
could-
So, okay,
So the building inspector would look for the setback
okay,
requirement at that point.
so then if I said, right now, okay, I'll make it 22 foot wide by 26, and we'll go 25 feet off the lot line, rather than 28. That still gets me within 2 feet of the, off the lot line rule there, so.
And so what we're kind of, what I would just advise you too is if you were to go with what I would say is what I had recommended as a condition for the 28
Right.
feet for your size, you can go under that size and then cheat it closer and still meet the code. The only issue at that point would be, are they okay, the commission here, allowing it in the front yard or not? So the
Right.
size issue can be negotiated basically during the application process.
Okay.
But as it was presented, that's what you would need to do to get it at that size. Does that
Okay,
make sense?
well, okay.
You need to meet that setback for the size you presented. That's what I'm getting
Well,
at.
okay, well, yeah, okay, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, if I go smaller, which I'm inclined to do right now, I could get to that 25, I could be to that 25 feet off the lot
Yeah,
line then.
and you would need to,
And I
You
don't
still
know how that works well here.
and then at
so.
that point, you can say whatever you want, and then the planning commission still would need to say, are they okay with it in the front yard or not? Because
Okay,
that's the issue.
okay,
Because the
Right.
setback and the side, everybody gets that, right?
Right.
Okay. I don't want to beat that horse here.
right. I don't know if you know this, Ben, but, like I had to be X amount of feet off of the mound Also, I don't know, you can kind of see it on the pictures there, around this little garden here. My tanks are in there. Do you know how far you have to be off the tanks, or?
That's up to the county and the building inspector. I don't know what they're enforcing. I don't.
Okay. I mean, that would be the only other little hiccup I have to find out. I'm 30-some feet from there anyways, but,
I would think that'd be okay, 'cause
right.
I
I
know
mean, if it's a tank, it ain't the
If you're
mountain.
encroaching within 10 feet, I think they start really questioning it, but
Okay.
otherwise, I don't think you need to worry about it.
my tanks are closer than 30 feet, that's for sure.
Right. Well, I know it's at least 30, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really don't have any problem with it, it's whatever you guys like to see. So are we approving the 22 or are we approving the 26, I guess?
I think so.
You know what?
I will make a
I think
motion
it's-
to approve the location
In
of
front of
the outstructure with the required setbacks as per our code.
So if you want to go smaller, you could.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, but now, by going smaller, I can actually move it over to the west lot line then. Okay. I gotta deal with the building inspector on that one.
You got it.
It's all kind of a new,
Okay, so you had that
Thanks for
motion.
that.
I'll second Warren's motion.
Okay, any other comments, conversation?
How about the other conditions that were placed regarding, the lighting, be required, limited to low intensity, decorative type, typical residential application, materials and colors shall match that of the principal residence.
golf course it would.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll include all the
Other
recommendations
conditions?
Yeah.
Okay.
from the planner.
And I'll agree with that too.
Okay, I just wanted to make clear. Very quick.
Okay. Okay, if there's no other discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
So there you go.
All right, thank you.
Okay, planners report, do you have anything, Ben, to?
No, I just fielded a few phone calls, once in a while. One of them was the Con Oils building. I think we talked about this a couple
Yeah.
months ago,
Yeah, I need to,
you know.
he called and he wants to talk about his plans and things like that. So-
But again, it was kind of pie in the sky kind of stuff, like, hey, if somebody wanted to build a 100-foot tall tower on there, could they do that? And the simple answer was no. But, and then the question was kind of, do we want to look at our zoning ordinance again to amend it for any reason for industrial area? And I think the answer was no.
Yes, we-
We'll just kind of, because it's like 35 feet max is the overall height limitation.
100-foot tower, what?
They wanted to do some proprietary, like, something with their oil product or something, aerosol, something, I don't know. I don't know technology, but something with the manufacturing.
That would be really high.
Sounds like.
I know, that's great, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus it's on a hill.
One way to use your oil.
Super gummies.
You gotta drop them from a
And that's all I-
tower, they're gonna go.
That's all you got.
Come
Okay,
back.
no
You guys are all
inspector
set?
I'm set?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, unless
Thank
you want
you.
to stay
Yeah,
and hang
so,
out and see how cool we are at playing.
We're happy you. Super cool.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
So your next steps,
So, is there something I get that I have to give to the building inspector, or?
I'll follow up with you via email next week sometime,
Okay.
after Memorial Day, of course.
Wait,
Probably later next week.
I gotta get some estimates and stuff.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, take care.
Okay, any other correspondence? Otherwise, I think we're set, guys. Mike,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Nice and quick, we like that.
I do have a question, come to think of it though, did they move our next meeting up to the 20th of June now, is that the way I read that?
Yes,
Is it-
Laura called me,
is it set
and
on
she,
the
she was asking me if it was okay, and I felt honored, really. And I was like, no, it should work, because I don't have another community
So,
that night.
planning on the 20th?
It is the 20th.
Instead of the 27th.
Yeah.
I will, dependent if I'm voted to come back to the planning commission or not. If I am, I won't be there on the 20th. I'm in California for.
Can you
baseball
behave
tournament.
yourself? That's the question.
Did I do okay tonight?
You did great,
Trying
You-
to figure out
Thanks
where
for
that's
coming in today.
yeah. I appreciate it. You
My
have,
my kid was playing a baseball game and things were not going so well for their team, so
Oh,
it
boy.
was a good time.
is he still Puma?
Yeah, they started here in a couple of weeks.
What,
It's,
what
high
age
school
group
right
is
now.
he? Oh, high school?
17, 16.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You find a lot of, I see over there putting, what are they gonna put lights around the sign over there? Is that what they're working on?
Where,
Over, in your subdivision there, Lake Forest?
oh, we're putting up a flower bed out in front of the,
Just, I thought we had talked about lights in that.
yeah, they haven't given me anything on the lights yet, on what they want to do, so as of now, we're
She
just
said
putting.
I'm supposed to plug this.
I just saw some.
So are you,
guy taking over
are you
there.
officially joining, or you gotta get
There's
voted
a bunch of
on?
guys taking over
There's
the
a
last couple of days.
Yeah, they're syncing,
I think they,
they're syncing the
so
rock.
I believe they just gotta make a recommendation, and then
about
they,
3/4 done today.
they might ask you to come
Those are just guys from
to the trustee meeting.
Plug it in.
And then if you wanna give like
I
a
can't-
quick 5-minute spiel about who you
Slide
are,
under
and
the
what
door.
you do.
Yeah, right.
And then they just,
I don't want somebody stepping on
whether
it.
they vote you on or not, you know, I think that's the way it's.
It was recording and I stopped it, so.
So,
Now it's recording.
at the next, board meeting, do you gotta make the recommendation to add Jim on and then take a vote
If
for
he
that?
wants to come on, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like